So today I'm making these amazing crab cakes over a toasty, which is a heart-shaped, almost like a crouton, brioche bread that has been baked and sprayed with lots of olive oil, and so it's crunchy. And then you have that poached egg right on top and that salted yolk dripping down those lovely crab cakes. And so that's what we're making today. I'm excited. Right here you see me chopping up some onion. So I took about 3 slices, turned it, went back over it. We're going to do really thin slices, and then you're going to turn it again, and it's going to come out to be a perfect dice. So we're looking for small pieces to go inside of our crab cakes, and we're going to saute all of these veggies. Just look at that cut. Now we're going to go ahead and add in some sweet bell peppers. You want to take your ends off, chop those ends. That's where your root is. Then you're going to take out all of the seeds. Now you can use a paring knife, a spoon, or even a pepper de-seeder, which goes all the way into the pepper and then literally twist out the core. So we want to go ahead and remove all of that because we do not need the seeds. Then you're going to go ahead and try and flatten it as much as you can when you're slicing it. You're going to do some thin slices. And once you get all of those peppers sliced, then you're going to turn your peppers from a vertical position to a horizontal position, and you're going to essentially dice the peppers. We're looking for a 1/4 inch dice. You'll see right here, I turn those peppers, get them all grouped together, kind of nice, neatly, and close together, and take your knife and just slide it across there and making a dice. They're not always going to be perfect, but you definitely don't want any long pieces inside of your crab cake. When you bite this, you do not want to have to pull food out of your teeth. And so that is the whole goal. Now we have our lovely garlic. This is a whole colossal garlic clove, or bulb rather, and the cloves are what I'm pulling out of that skin, that peel. And so I just run this under cool running water, pop it in the microwave for 30 to 40 seconds, and it will release it to where I can just squeeze them out of that husk. Once I get them all squeezed out, then I'm going to show you how to mince it. Now you want to group all of the garlic close together, and it's like you're slicing it, but just in a group, and you want to get them to be as thin as possible, and then you're going to basically chop it. You're going to go back over it and back over it again until you get a small mince. You'll see right here, I have my handy dandy Misto sprayer, which is an olive oil sprayer. Pushes out right the amount of liquid that we need. And I spray that on top of my garlic to make it softer, easier to mince. And then I add a little salt to that as well, which is very helpful. You'll see I'm spraying my pan. I want to get my pan hot and ready. No, and this is definitely not Little Caesars. Unfortunately, they do not make crab cakes. Okay. Now you want to go ahead and add in everything into your skillet. Your garlic that's been minced, your peppers, your onions, and you want to give that a good saute. You want your veggies to be cooked before they go in, or you will have a crunchy, al dente mix of veggies in your crab cake. Right here, I'm chopping up some dill. And so we want to go ahead and chop up that dill, get it off of the stem, and then you want to also put the dill into your recipe. It gives that fish, yes, crab, a nice little oomph when you're eating it, having some fresh herbs in there. They're not as dark as I would like them to be, but they're still fresh, and I like them way better than dry dill. Keep chopping. You're looking for a fine mince without it being completely paste-like, but small enough to go into your dish. Put that into your crab. And then we want to take 1 egg, a splash of milk, okay, literally, less than a 1/4 cup. And you want to go ahead and whisk that. You can use a whisk or a fork. I'm using a fork right here. And we are going to use that to help bind our crab cakes to make them moist, but also to bring in all of those ingredients together. So you're just going to go ahead and put in your veggies in with the crab. All of your cooked veggies are going to go in with the crab. Okay, make sure you put a little hella seasoned in there. Available at chefraycooks.com/products. Add in a little ancho chili powder. Yes, we're looking for a little bit of a kick. Go ahead and get those vegetables out of your skillet. And as you're doing this, you're going to have a few chunks of crab. You want to go ahead and try to pull those apart. Now, you could take all the crab out of the bowl before you start this process. Take a knife and do a good chop to all of the crab before you put it in the bowl. But I like it to be a little chunky, so I just pull apart the big pieces. I add in that egg and milk. I add in my veggies, and I give that a good stir. Now, if you've watched my videos in the past and you've seen the corn fritter video, you'll see that we added a couple of leavening agents to help it rise, bind together, and cook well. And so in this demo, I am going to add in a little bit of breadcrumbs. We got some Progressive Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. I am going to add in some Argo cornstarch. If you've ever used a cornstarch slurry, it is the opposite of a roux, and it works just the same, both dry and wet in most recipes. You want to go ahead and mix all that in there, okay? Mix it all up. And then you're going to add in some self-rising white lily flour. Now, I don't have a specific measurement for this. It's really by eye, but you can do as little as a couple of tablespoons, but no more than a 1/4 cup of this flour, okay? No more than a 1/4 cup. Believe it or not, there's a lot of crab in that bowl. So I'm using right under a 1/4 cup of flour in there, a couple tablespoons of cornstarch. Mix it all up, mix it all up. And then you want to make sure your skillet's hot. You want to make sure you have oil in your skillet. I use vegetable oil sometimes, but in this demo and in most of all of my cooking recipes, I use olive oil. I love it. You can make your own olive oil, or you can infuse your own olive oil with some herbs. But make sure you have some olive oil coated in the bottom of that pan. Make sure you spray your crab mixture and so that it's oiled well as well. And then make sure you also spray your scooper and any utensils you're going to use to either flip, pick up, or put the mixture into the skillet. That will eliminate a lot of sticking. Now, I love some St. Pierre's brioche bread. It's sliced. It comes in the grocery store. It's French bread. It's directly from France. It is amazing. It's kind of got some sweet notes to it. Cooks quite nicely. I make a lot of croutons out of this. But today, I'm going to make what I like to call a heart-shaped toasty. I use a cookie cutter to cut out the shape of the bread that I'd like. And then all of that excess bread, I'm actually not going to throw that away. I'm actually going to keep that. And the reason why I like to keep it is because I like to go back and be able to make croutons out of it. This is some pretty expensive bread, about $5 a loaf. In some places, it's about $6 a loaf. But it's worth every single penny that you're going to pay on it. As you see, I've just continued this process. I'm only doing 4 heart-shaped toasties, and I'm sure you can come up with a better name than that. However, they're like croutons. And it's not actually a bad idea, too. Like if you're making a salad, fine dining, you take this nice heart-shaped toasty, you put it in the oven, you spray it really good with some olive oil front and back. You get it just crispy enough to where it's got a crunch, and you can top it with some romaine. You can top it with some Caesar dressing, maybe a few bacon bits that you've procured in a skillet. I personally do not eat bacon, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to cook that bacon and then chop it myself. And you can make little miniature Caesar salads on top of this large crouton. So as you see, I'm just spraying it. And I want to make sure it's saturated, so I kind of rub it down on the bottom of the pan, push the bread into it, make sure that, there's no spaces or gaps or any sort of dry bread before you put that in the oven. You want to make sure it is fully wet from that olive oil. Pop it in the oven for about 5 to 7 minutes on high heat. Now we're going to go back over here to make these crab cakes. Grab you a scooper, ice cream scooper, spray it with some Baker's Joy, and divvy out your crab cakes evenly throughout the pan with a little bit of space in between, about 2 inches, if you can do it. And just repeat that process until you finish all of your crab mixture out of that bowl. You do not have to flatten them immediately. Let them cook a little bit. Spray them while they're in your skillet. Make sure they're lubricated enough. And I even have to spray that spatula because the spatula will stick. As you can see, they haven't been cooking that long. Maybe 2 minutes. Flip them. I also like to put them in the oven when I'm done just to make sure they're done on the inside because you do have egg mixture. You do have flour in there as well. And you want to make sure that they are not raw tasting. Yes, the crab has been steamed, poached out of its shell. We used the same crab when we made our crab bisque and our cheddar biscuits that were stuffed with the crab. So this is all coming from 2 pounds worth of crab. Can you believe it? 2 dishes have been made with the same 2 pounds of crab. Go ahead and put your crab cakes onto a nice sprayed half pan and stick those into the oven. I have my oven on 375 degrees and I bake them for about 5 minutes. And then I just cut the oven off, leave them in there and warm. Now we're going to go ahead and poach an egg. We got some salt in our water, some apple cider vinegar, and you can use any vinegar that you prefer, but that is going to help if the egg goes in there to kind of keep it all together. That vinegar helps. All right. Got you a little ring in there. I'm using a mason jar cap, and I put my whole egg in there. As you see, I'm using a spoon to kind of wade that egg white back onto the yolk. That way it takes on the whiteness of the yolk, of the egg white. So you're going to try to take out all that excess egg white, though, that is not attached to the egg if you can. And then you're going to gently remove the egg after it has basically poached for about 2 minutes. This is a quick process. You do have to be kind of gentle. So I'm using a soft plastic-like spoon to remove it. And then I put it inside of a mug just to make sure that I don't break it before I actually have to use it. I'm going to repeat this process with another egg. Salt, apple cider vinegar, get you a ring mold, drop your yolk in with the egg white, and you're going to keep doing that, and you're wetting that water on top, and you're cooking it for about 2 minutes. So now you have 2 heart-shaped toasties, 2 crab cakes, and a poached egg sitting on top. And then you have some of my delicious, amazing Cajun Mexican seasoning sprinkled right on top of your egg. Now, when I bust this yolk open, I'm going to add a little bit of salt to my yolk so you can have a salted yolk. Nothing like it. And actually, I prefer it over hollandaise sauce any day. Just look at that. Amazing. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more tips and tricks and recipes at Chef Ray Cooks on YouTube and social media.